What's good, YouTube? It's that Fantasy Guy coming to you with another video, and this is a special one. I'm being interviewed by another YouTube channel because I jumped into one of their leagues. It's a 16-man league, super flex, and he just asking me about my picks and about the team. So stay tuned, listen to the interview. I'm out. Oh, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Damn it.
I'm here with That Fantasy Guy, and we're going to go over how the startup draft went for the Fantasy Fleet Dynasty League. And really, let's start it off with, what was your plan going into the league after you saw the league settings? And did you stick to your plan? How did you think that turned out? Or did you even have a plan? Or if not, you were going to go just best player available?
Yeah, that's pretty much always my goal, best player available. The only thing about these settings was that I knew running back would be important. As far as when it comes to the quarterbacks, I was just gonna feel how the draft went with the quarterbacks and just try to get a quarterback at value. So that was my goal with that. It pretty much went how I wanted to go, except for me not being able to trade my overall sixth pick, and I ended up picking Hopkins with the sixth pick, and I wanted to trade that to get into the second round, maybe get a second and third rounder, but I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember you putting out in the group chat that you were looking back to move from that 106 because that was kind of like no man's land. DeAndre Hopkins was definitely the best player available for a regular dynasty league. I think I already said that I probably would have gone quarterback at that pick. I probably would have gone to Deshaun Watson, but obviously DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a top tier elite wide receiver for the next couple of years. So it is nice to have that stability. But let's move on a little bit down. And with the 211, you take Todd Gurley. And it's hard to imagine, like, if you would think a year ago that Todd Gurley would put up a RB1 finish, and then you'd be able to get him with the 27th overall pick. So what did you think about that pick?
Well, I've done a number of drafts, and I've been getting Todd Gurley in the second round, so I figured he would fall, and I was hoping he'd fall. That's why I was trying to make that trade, because I knew I would be able to get Todd Gurley and maybe another running back to pretty much stabilize my running backs. But yeah, I'm not really into the hype that everyone else is into. I heard Reggie Bush talk about that all football players have arthritis somewhere in them, so it was not a big deal. I'm not overblowing the story. This is not new news that came out in the off season to me. It's just redundancy. So I'm buying all stock in Todd Gurley, and it's a risk that I'm willing to take.
Yeah, what I like about the Todd Gurley pick is there is downside to the pick, obviously, but in a 16-team league, you kind of got to shoot for upside because the chances of winning the league are so small that you need to have a great team if you do want to win. And with the very next pick, you take Zach Ertz with the 212. And can you go over this pick a little bit?
I probably would take this pick back. I felt it was pertinent for me to make sure I secure a tight end. And when the person messaged on the message board saying that pick was up for grabs, and he said, anybody want Ertz, that's the first player that came to my mind. I honestly would have rather picked OJ Howard, but not completely disappointed in the pick, because I know Ertz, is going to do his thing. But I'm worried about maybe Goddard taking some of his targets, and what's the future going to be for him with the Eagles.
Yeah, I think it's definitely kind of a neutral pick for me. I think with Zach Ertz pick, you kind of got to push to go win now with the pick, because like you said, we don't really know what the future is going to be with Zach Ertz. But let's go to your next two picks, and these were almost back-to-back as well. You had the 411 and the 414, and here you go, Kirk Cousins and Drew Brees. And I like it because you're definitely going to get two quarterbacks that are going to be stable for at least 1 to 2 years. We don't necessarily know how much Drew Brees has left, but I think you got the quarterbacks right at a good time before there's a big drop off in talent.
So I lucked up and even got that because the quarterbacks I had put in my queue, it was a run on quarterbacks from my last pick on Ertz to my fourth round pick on Kirk Cousins. I actually had a number of quarterbacks in my queue, and in between those picks, let's see, there was Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, on Sam Arnold, Trubinsky, Garoppolo, Stafford. There was a number of quarterbacks that went, and I wasn't able to get the two quarterbacks that I wanted. I was fine with getting Kirk Cousins, and the next person I was going after was Josh Allen, and he went the very next pick. So I looked at the pool of quarterbacks, and I just decided to pick Drew Brees. And even though I wanted a younger quarterback, I can kind of I would be secure with a couple of years down the line. I just decided to go into win now mode since that's pretty much been my pickings the rest of the draft.
Yeah, and I really like that you did that because, like I said earlier in the video, that Zach Ertz, that pick is kind of neutral for me, but with taking him, that you do kind of force your hand to go win now, and you definitely follow it up with Drew Brees, and you actually take Julian Edelman with the 706, so definitely furthermore to push your chips and win now. But before that pick, you take Rashad Penny and Royce Freeman, and both these running backs have kind of similar prototypes where they were drafted and everyone expected them to be a 3-down back for their team last year, but they got outplayed by who were presumed to be backups on the team. But I definitely like buying both running backs going into this year, especially in a league where running backs kind of get a premium with the points per carry.
Yeah, so I like both of these running backs. I'm not really a guru in Devy leagues, but when I looked at their college tape, I love both of these running backs. Absolutely love Penny. I like Freeman, but I love Penny. So I don't like that. Of course, this is the Seattle running back, so you never can predict what Pete Carroll going to do. But I figured Freeman should win that job from Lindsey. And I already read that he's taking first team reps, so I figured it's just a matter of time before he become the number one running back.
Yeah, well, let's move down the line. Let's cover like two more picks, and one pick that really stands out to me is your Alshon Jeffrey pick at the 8-11. And like I said, I think this is a great pick that fits your team because you're going win now, and Alshon Jeffrey should put up points in 2019. I don't think there's much else to be said about that pick, but do you want to pick a couple of your picks maybe later in the draft that really stood out to you, and you want to talk about them for a little bit?
Okay, let's see. I thought it was important for me to pick Malcolm Brown, and I picked that with the 1706. Everyone is on the Darrell Henderson train. I think it need to slow down a little bit. His ADP has risen so much, it's ridiculous, and I just wanted to get a piece of the backfield since I have Gurley, so I went with Malcolm Brown instead of trying to get Henderson, who's going to go too high for my blood. I picked with the 18-11 Josh Gordon. I just figured I'd throw a dart at him just in case he does come back. Very talented wide receiver. Just in case, even if I get a couple games out of him, I'll be happy with that. Paul Richardson, I picked with the 2011, and I pretty much just was picking up part of the wide receiver core with Redskins. You don't know who's going to emerge there. It seemed like Dotson has been disappointing us, and McLaurin is a rookie, and how many times does rookie really produce? So I just decided to go with Paul Richardson since he was there, and I felt like that was a value pick.
All right, well, I love it, and honestly, I was looking at Paul Richardson too late in the draft, but you kind of beat me to him. But speaking of things that didn't happen, is there anything that you regret going through, looking back at this startup, do you wish you would have gone a specific position a little bit earlier? Do you wish you would have gone just a different way, like you talked about with your Zach Ertz pick?
If I definitely had to do it again, I probably would have looked at a quarterback to see if there was a quarterback on the board that I loved. If there wasn't a quarterback on the board that I loved at that 212, I probably would have got OJ Howard instead, and then I would have probably tried to trade up and get another QB to match with Kirk Cousins that I feel definitely will be with his team for the next 2 years. I personally think Breeze might retire after this year. So, as you know, I know that I'm gonna be struggling if he do retire to get me another quarterback because people are hoarding quarterbacks and he holding them for ransom, and I'm not about paying. So.
Yeah, and what's also going to be rough is in a regular dynasty league, you could actually go out and replace Drew Brees in the rookie draft, but with the Devy aspect to this league, those college quarterbacks are actually going to be owned. So your only chance of getting one's most likely going to be drafting them while they're in college, which will mean you'll even have to wait longer or trading for them as they come into the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on with me, man.
No problem.